Good afternoon and welcome to You Create Art at Home. My name is Bess and this is your online art studio, a place to gain creative confidence, inspirational ideas and technical tips, all from the comfort of your home. So welcome to your weekly paint and picnic. We'll be here for about 45 minutes, half an hour, 45 minutes today. And thank you to Nikki Cooper in the UK for her request to do giraffes. So we have got two giraffe pictures for you today. We have got the jolly giraffe, which we are going to do now, and then the rainbow giraffe that we will be doing at 7 p.m. You are welcome to do them both. The jolly giraffe I am going to do with watercolours this afternoon, and then the rainbow giraffe we are going to do in acrylic. So welcome in and let me know where you are coming in from. I've got Daisy here painting with me today. And let me know where you're painting from. How's your weekend going? What have you been up to? And let me know if you are using acrylics, watercolours, maybe you're using textures or felt pens. Either way, we're super excited to get started. And if you haven't been able to make it live today, don't worry. I'm going to save this recording as usual and you will be able to see it on the replay. So you can do this at your own leisure. But I'm here on my usual spot at 5 o'clock to give you your little art class. Now, just to say, next week, there will only be one class next week, which will be at 5 o'clock, okay? One class at 5 o'clock, and that will just be the family sip and paint because I have a prior engagement that I am going to in the evening. So I'm just doing the one class at 5 o'clock next week, all right? And next week we are going to be doing a sunset, which was asked for by one of our local ladies in the Gap, Diana. And so I promised that I would do a sunset, so we're going to be doing the sunset next Saturday, all right? So that's just a little heads up for you. So we're going to get started. I am going to start drawing it in pencil, and then we're going to move on to some watercolours. I am actually going to use, I'm going to show you a couple of options. I'm going to show you how you could also use oil pastel to create colour relief. You don't have to do this. You could just use watercolours. Either way is fantastic, but I want to give you children both options. And you can use relief. Relief means that when you put the paint on there, it doesn't, the bit that's got the wax crayon or the oil pastel, the watercolour doesn't flood and leaves that colour still there. It's like, what's it like? A barrier. That's what's the word. That's what I was trying to think. It's like a barrier. So it stops the painting. So if you use a wax crayon, you might have done this at school, use a wax crayon or an oil pastel, and then you put watercolour or ink over the top, the colour that you've put down in that crayon remains. And then you can get some really nice different texture from using it. You could just use full watercolour, which is absolutely fine. All right, so are we ready? Are you ready, Daisy? Yay! Okay, who have we got? We have got Vicky from Sydney. Welcome, Vicky. You're using acrylics, no problem at all. And we've got Joe. Hello, Joe. You and your son are joining us for the first time. So welcome to your online art studio. The whole point of this is to give you some guidance, to get you inspired and excited to be able to create together. You can create anytime because I have now nearly 200 videos on my Facebook. And they are there for you to enjoy. Now, I started doing this in COVID, as some of you know. So that was, 12 weeks ago, Daisy? Something like that, 10 weeks ago. And certainly when I started, there was nothing as swanky as 2 cameras. Today we've got 2 cameras, so I'm here chatting to you, and then you can see my hand here. So you get that great setup. And I've learned all this as I've gone along. And now I'm really excited to continue this online journey and create an online virtual studio so you can have me one-to-one to yourself. So as you get excited, as you develop more skills, as you want to improve your skills, you'll be able to find me whenever you want. But like I say, Joe, there is plenty of art classes that you can dive into. All right, so let's get started. We're going to start off with our jolly giraffe. All right, I'm going to start with pencil. If you want to, you can start with paint and draw with paint, but usually children prefer pencil just because it's a a material that they know. They use it at school, so they're really, really familiar with it. So it's really good for us to keep that in mind. Okay, so when I start off and I do heads, and Joe, I don't know what your son's name is, but what I want to say is that I use this technique which is called the invisible spin. And the invisible spin means that I put my hand around in a circle so that I can kind of work out what size I want my oval or my circle to be before I put my paintbrush or my pencil on the paper. And that way I get a really good flow, and it's like using a compass or spinning anything. You get a really good solid spin before you try and draw it. If you try and draw something from scratch, you end up probably holding it a little bit too tight. And what happens is that your brain tells your hand it needs to go round the corner, round the corner, round the corner, round the corner. And usually what happens is actually the circle doesn't match up, or the oval doesn't match up. When you spin, your hand just goes in a flow and you usually get a much better circle. So that's a really good tip for you, okay? So in this instance, we've got a really long giraffe's neck. So we need to be in the top half of our piece of paper. And I want you to try and create